Hello everyone, this is Ma'am Amano, and this lecture video is all about the Earth's layers. So, the Earth's layers can be divided into two or classified into two. First, we have here the interior part, and then the layers of the Earth's atmosphere. So, let us proceed on the interior part of the Earth. Here, it can be generally divided into crust, mantle, and core. So, let us discuss that one by one. First, we have here the crust. The crust is the thinnest and outermost layer of the Earth. It extends from the surface to about 32 kilometers below, underneath some mountains. Thickness extends to 72 kilometers, and it consists of two layers. The upper layer, which is composed of granite and found in the continental crust only. And then the lower layer is composed of basalt, which is found in continental and oceanic crust. So, this is your crust. Here, the oceanic crust is composed of the ocean, of course, wherein there is the seafloor. Yung sahig ng dagat, seafloor. Andyan yan. And then the continental crust, this is the land. Okay, ito yung continents. Meron kayo dito nakikitang trench. This is mid-oceanic trench. Diyan lumalabas yung new soils. New soils ng oceanic crust. Ayan. Diba, meron ditong mantle, meron dito inner core and outer core. Tapos merong asthenosphere, merong molten lava. So, dito sila naglalabas ng new soils, new land, dito sa mid-oceanic trench. At makikita nyo yung trench na yan sa underwater. Mid-oceanic trench, doon nyo yan makikita. Ang purpose nito is lagi nagpo-produce siya new land, new soil. Okay? New seafloor. And then, pupunta yan sa subduction zone ulit. Yung old seafloor, so pasok na sa subduction zone, tapos i-recycle dito, tapos lalabas ulit sa trenches, or lalabas sa continental crust in form of mountains, the magma, and the lava. So, ganun yan. Again, the crust is composed of continental and oceanic crust. The continental crust is made up of silicon, oxygen, aluminum, calcium, sodium, and potassium. It is mostly 30 to 40 kilometers in thickness or in depth, found under land masses, of course, and then made of less dense rock, granite. Then, we have here the oceanic crust. The oceanic crust is 7 to 10 kilometers in thickness. The average thickness is 8 kilometers, found under ocean floor or in the sea floor, made of basalt, and though it is 7 to 10 kilometers only, it is heavier than continental crust. So, as you can see here, we have here the thickness of 30 to 40 kilometers in continental crust, but here on the oceanic crust is just 7 to 10 kilometers, but it is heavier compared to continental crust, the oceanic crust or the sea floor. Next layer of the Earth, we have here the mantle. The mantle is found beneath the crust. Makikita nyo siya below the crust. Andito yan. This is your crust and this is your mantle here. This is your crust and this is your next layer is mantle. It extends to about 2,900 kilometers from the Earth's surface, makes up 80% of the Earth's total volume. When we say volume, the amount it occupies, and about 68% of its total mass. It is made up of silicate rocks. When we say silicate rocks, it contains of silicon and oxygen, in which it is made up of silicon, oxygen, iron, or magnesium. It consists of two different layers. We have the upper mantle and the lower mantle. The upper mantle is the rigid zone, in which you can find the lithosphere or the rock layer made up of tectonic plates. Nito yung upper mantle ninyo. This is solid. And dyan yung makikita yung lithosphere. Okay, ito yung, kumbaga, thin skin before the crust. Dyan nakapatong yun. Next, we have here the lower mantle, wherein you can find the asthenosphere or the semi-liquid or molten liquid. The boundary between the crust and mantle is known as Moho, named after Andrega Moho-Veric. The lower mantle consists of more iron compared to upper mantle. And then, the lower mantle is denser than the upper mantle. It is denser because this is a semi-liquid, and the temperature and pressure increases with depth. So, ano ba yung asthenosphere na tinatawag natin na makikita natin sa lower mantle? Ito yan. This part here. Ito yung lithosphere ninyo, which is also a part of the upper mantle. And yung asthenosphere ay part ng lower mantle. Ang lithosphere, dito nakapatong yung plate tectonics natin, in which doon yung continental crust and oceanic crust natin nakapatong. So, since yung asthenosphere natin ay molten, dito nang gagaling yung magma, kung tawagin. Ito ay nag-flow. Since this one flows, the lithosphere that is attached on it also flows. This is the cause of the plate tectonics. Okay? Ito yung dahilan ng movement ng mga land masses natin, dahilan ng earthquakes, yung sa paggalaw ng ating asthenosphere. And then, nagbubungguan yung lithosphere and crust. So, ito yung cause niyan. Then, we have here the outer core. The outer core is made up of iron and nickel. It is molten. When we say molten, tunaw na iron and nickel. And the temperature is 2,000 degrees Celsius. So, at this very high temperature, the iron and nickel, which is supposed to be solid because they are metal, they melt in this temperature. This one, this part here, the outer core. Next, we have here the inner core. The inner core is made up of solid iron and nickel. The temperature is 5,000 degrees Celsius, and we call the boundary between the inner and outer core as Boolean discontinuity, which is discovered by Ensch-Lehmann through seismic waves. Kung makikita ninyo, this part, the inner core is solid, although the temperature is 5,000 degrees Celsius, which is higher than the 2,000 degrees Celsius of the outer core. Bakit siya solid although mas mataas yung temperature? So we call this as pressure freezing, in which at this temperature, at higher temperature, given the depth, dahil mas malalalim, mas tumataas yung pressure, mas mainit, it solidifies. Okay, it keeps the iron and nickel solid given that pressure. Pag sinabi natin pressure, yung cause ng compaction, although mataas ang temperature, it causes the iron and nickel to be kept as solid. So, ito yung cause ng ating ng magnetism and electromagnetic field. Next, let us have here the layers of the Earth's atmosphere. First, we have here the troposphere. Okay, the troposphere is where all the weather occurs. This is where all the weather occurs, in which you can have here a hot air balloon, and then natataas hanggang stratosphere, and then you will have here your planes. And the next we have here the stratosphere. The stratosphere is wherein the hot air balloons, the boundary where they can fly. Also the jet planes. And then the mesosphere is where the meteors burn. And then we have here the thermosphere. The thermosphere is where the aurora borealis is located. From the term itself, it means heat. So, it is also known as ionosphere because it ionizes. Diba yung mga aurora borealis may mga kulay? The cause of that is the separation or the reaction of the heat. Nag-separate yung cation and an ion. For example, you have here the compound sodium. The sodium is color orange and the chlorine is colorless. So, in this part here, nag-burn up kaya nagkakaroon ng colors dun sa thermosphere. Diyan nag-occur yung aurora borealis. And then we also have here the exosphere. Dito nagpo-float yung artificial satellites, yung weather satellites, yung radio satellites. Then, pwede rin siya dito sa thermosphere, yung boundary dito. Dito nagpo-float yung ISS or International Space Station. Pagdating dito sa exosphere, ito na yung sinasabi natin exo from the term itself, it means outside of the Earth's atmosphere. So, palabas na yan. Palabas na yan na kumbaga orbit ng Earth. So, that is all for this lecture video.